Natalie Kane was a household name, a reality TV star whose charisma had captured millions of hearts. Known for her radiant smile and quick wit, she became the breakout star of The Glam Life, a show that followed the lives of wealthy socialites. Fans adored her, and her social media following exploded. But behind the designer clothes and glamorous photo shoots, Natalie's life wasn't as perfect as it seemed. Her rise to fame brought its own challenges. Natalie often spoke about the pressure to maintain her public image and the constant scrutiny she faced. She confided in close friends about feeling overwhelmed by the expectations of her newfound celebrity status. But she was determined to keep up appearances, brushing off rumors and flashing that trademark smile. Then, one ordinary evening, Natalie vanished without a trace. She had been spotted at a downtown restaurant earlier in the night, dining with friends and laughing as usual. When she left, she told her friends she was heading home to prepare for an early morning shoot. She never made it. When Natalie didn't show up for work the next day, her team was concerned, but assumed she was running late. Calls to her phone went unanswered, and messages remained unread. By the afternoon, her assistant went to her apartment, only to find it empty. Natalie's car was still in the parking lot, her purse and keys untouched. It was as if she had disappeared into thin air. Before we dive into the mystery of Natalie's disappearance, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. These stories need to be told, and your support helps us bring the truth to light. The news of Natalie's disappearance sent shockwaves across the nation. Her fans launched campaigns on social media using the hashtag #FindNatalieKane, and her family made emotional pleas for information. The police launched an investigation, but leads were scarce. Surveillance footage from her apartment building showed Natalie entering the lobby but never leaving. Her phone last pinged near her apartment, but there was no sign of foul play. As investigators delved deeper, they uncovered troubling details about Natalie's life. In the weeks leading up to her disappearance, she had expressed fears of being followed. She told a friend she felt like someone was watching her, but dismissed it as paranoia. Now those fears seemed all too real. As the investigation unfolded, the seemingly perfect life of Natalie Kane began to reveal cracks. The police discovered that Natalie had been receiving anonymous threats. Emails and messages on her social media accounts warned her to stay in her lane and accused her of hiding something. At first, Natalie dismissed them as trolls, a dark side of fame she had grown accustomed to. But as the messages became more specific and personal, she grew increasingly unsettled. Her assistant shared with investigators that Natalie had recently installed extra locks on her doors and started using a private car service instead of driving herself. She had even spoken about hiring personal security, but she was hesitant to make her fears public, worried it might harm her image. To the outside world, Natalie remained the confident, glamorous star her fans adored. Privately, she was living in fear. Police also uncovered a financial trail that raised questions. Natalie had recently withdrawn a significant amount of cash from her accounts. Friends couldn't explain the sudden need for such a large sum, and investigators speculated she might have been preparing to run or pay someone off. The timeline of the withdrawal matched the period when the anonymous threats had intensified. Before we go further, take a moment to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Stories like Natalie's show how even those in the spotlight can face danger, and your support helps us keep these stories alive. The investigation took a darker turn when detectives interviewed Natalie's inner circle. Among her close friends and colleagues, one name kept coming up: Ryan Archer, her former boyfriend. Ryan was a high-profile businessman who had dated Natalie during her rise to fame. Their relationship had ended publicly and messily, with rumors of infidelity and heated arguments. But what caught investigators' attention was a restraining order Natalie had filed against Ryan just months before her disappearance. According to the restraining order, Ryan had been stalking Natalie, showing up uninvited at her apartment and sending her threatening messages. Despite the court's ruling, Ryan had continued to contact her, using burner phones and fake email accounts. Natalie had confided in friends that she was terrified of him, but she didn't want to go to the police again, fearing the media fallout. Ryan became the primary suspect. Surveillance footage showed him near Natalie's apartment on the night she vanished. When questioned, he claimed it was a coincidence, insisting he had nothing to do with her disappearance. But his alibi was shaky, and his behavior during the interrogation raised suspicions. As police worked to build their case against Ryan, another lead emerged. A neighbor reported hearing a loud argument coming from Natalie's apartment on the night she disappeared. The voice of a man was heard shouting, followed by the sound of something breaking. By the time the neighbor went to check, everything was quiet. The description of the man's voice matched Ryan's. The police obtained a search warrant for Ryan's property. What they found was chilling. In his car, they discovered Natalie's phone, wiped clean but still functional. In his home, they found a collection of photographs of Natalie, some taken from a distance and without her knowledge. Ryan was arrested on suspicion of kidnapping, but the question remained: where was Natalie? With Ryan Archer in custody, investigators were determined to piece together the events leading to Natalie Kane's disappearance. The evidence against him was mounting, but the biggest question remained unanswered. Where was Natalie? During his interrogation, Ryan maintained his innocence. He admitted to being near Natalie's apartment on the night of her disappearance, but claimed he had only gone to talk things through. He denied harming her and insisted he had left after she refused to let him in. His story didn't align with the evidence. The photos, the wiped phone, and the neighbour's account painted a much darker picture. Then a breakthrough came from an unlikely source. A construction worker reported seeing a car matching Ryan's near an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city. The car had been parked there late at night around the same time Natalie vanished. The lead gave investigators a new direction. Police quickly secured a warrant to search the warehouse. What they found sent chills through the team. Inside was a makeshift room with a mattress, blankets, and a few of Natalie's personal items. Among them was the dress she had worn the night she disappeared, torn and dirty. There was no sign of Natalie herself, but the scene confirmed one thing: she had been held there. As the search expanded, detectives found security footage from a nearby business showing Ryan's car entering the area, but leaving several hours later. The timeline matched the period Natalie had been missing. It was enough to confront Ryan again. Under the pressure of mounting evidence, Ryan finally broke. He admitted to abducting Natalie, but claimed he hadn't meant to harm her. According to his confession, he had wanted to talk privately and took her to the warehouse when she refused to see him. He insisted she had escaped while he was away, leaving the warehouse empty upon his return. The story was weak, and police didn't believe him, but it meant Natalie could still be alive. Before we reveal how this story ends, take a moment to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Stories like this highlight the resilience of those who face unimaginable danger, and your support helps us share their voices. The search for Natalie intensified. Teams scoured the area around the warehouse, using dogs and drones to cover as much ground as possible. Days turned into weeks, and hope began to dwindle. Then a miracle happened. A hiker discovered Natalie alive, hiding in a wooded area miles from the warehouse. She was weak, dehydrated, and terrified, but she was alive. Natalie's account filled in the gaps. She described how Ryan had taken her, driven her to the warehouse, and kept her there for 2 days. When he left to avoid police attention, she managed to break free. Too scared to return to the city, she had wandered through the woods, surviving on rainwater and sheer determination. Ryan was charged with kidnapping, false imprisonment, and multiple other offences. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison, ensuring he would never hurt Natalie again. Though her ordeal left lasting scars, Natalie's resilience inspired millions. She returned to her public life with a new purpose, raising awareness about the dangers of stalking and advocating for stronger protections for victims. Natalie Kane's story is a reminder of how quickly fame can turn into vulnerability and how courage and determination can lead to survival. What do you think about this story? Could Natalie's ordeal have been prevented, or was it the result of circumstances beyond anyone's control? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Your support helps us share these powerful stories of survival, justice, and hope. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay safe, stay vigilant, and remember, justice always finds its way.